Most people fear being alone because they think loneliness is weakness. But what if being alone is actually the secret weapon of the strongest people in the world? Most people spend their lives trying to avoid being alone. They constantly seek attention, approval, and companionship because silence makes them uncomfortable. The moment they're alone, they reach for their phone, social media, or distractions. They fear their own thoughts. They fear facing themselves. The Stoics understood something different. They believed that solitude is not a punishment. It is a gift. It is during moments of solitude that a person truly gets to know themselves. When you're surrounded by noise, it is easy to ignore your weaknesses. It is easy to avoid difficult questions. But when you are alone, there is nowhere to hide. You face your fears, your dreams, your habits, and your character. This is why many people avoid solitude. Self-reflection can be uncomfortable, yet it is also where growth begins. Strong people understand this. They do not run from solitude. They embrace it. They use it as a tool for self-improvement. While others are distracted by the opinions of the crowd, they focus on becoming better. While others seek validation, they seek wisdom. Over time, this habit creates a powerful advantage. The person who is comfortable being alone becomes independent. They stop relying on others for happiness. They stop depending on constant attention. They develop strength from within. And that inner strength becomes one of the greatest superpowers a person can possess. One of the greatest benefits of being alone is clarity. Modern life is full of noise. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants your attention. Everyone is telling you how to live. If you are not careful, you can spend your entire life following other people's expectations instead of your own values. The Stoics warned against this. They believe that wisdom requires reflection, and reflection requires solitude. When you are alone, the noise disappears. The pressure to impress others disappears. The need to fit in disappears. You finally have the opportunity to think clearly. You begin asking important questions. What do I truly want? What kind of person do I want to become? What values matter most to me? These questions are difficult to answer when you are constantly distracted, but solitude creates the space needed for honest reflection. Strong people use this time wisely. They evaluate their lives. They learn from mistakes. They make plans for the future. While others are busy following the crowd, they are building a vision for their own life. This clarity gives them direction, and direction is powerful because it prevents them from wasting years chasing goals that do not truly matter. A person with clarity moves through life with confidence because they know where they're going and why. Another reason being alone is a superpower is because it teaches emotional independence. Many people rely on others for their happiness. They need constant approval, constant attention, and constant reassurance. When they do not receive these things, they feel empty. The Stoics believed this was dangerous because it gives other people control over your emotions. If your happiness depends entirely on someone else, then your happiness is never truly yours. Strong people learn to enjoy their own company. They learn to find peace without constant validation. They learn to be content without needing to impress anyone. This does not mean they reject relationships. It means they are not dependent on them. They appreciate companionship, but they do not require it in order to feel complete. This creates tremendous freedom. The person who is comfortable alone is much harder to manipulate. They do not stay in toxic relationships because they fear loneliness. They do not sacrifice their values just to fit in. They do not chase people who do not appreciate them. Why? Because they already know how to be happy on their own. This confidence changes everything. It allows them to make decisions based on wisdom rather than fear. And that is why solitude is often the birthplace of true strength. Most people see being alone as a sign that something is missing. The Stoics saw it differently. They believe that solitude is where greatness is built. Think about the strongest people in history. Before the world saw their success, there were countless hours spent alone. alone studying, alone practicing, alone improving, alone struggling. The crowd only sees the results. They do not see the lonely mornings, the silent nights, and the sacrifices made in private. The man who is comfortable being alone has a huge advantage because he can focus without distraction, while others are seeking entertainment. He is developing skills, while others are chasing approval. He is building character, while others are worried about fitting in. He is creating a life worth living. This is why solitude is so powerful. It gives you the opportunity to work on yourself without interruption. It allows you to invest energy into growth rather than validation. Over time, these quiet moments create extraordinary results. The world often rewards what is built in solitude, and the people who learn to use solitude wisely eventually discover strengths they never knew they had. Being alone also teaches resilience. A person who cannot be alone often becomes dependent on others for comfort. The moment life becomes difficult, they search for someone to rescue them. The Stoics believe that true strength comes from learning how to stand on your own. This does not mean refusing help when it is needed. It means developing the ability to handle challenges without falling apart. Solitude helps build this ability. When you spend time alone, you learn how to solve problems independently. You learn how to manage your emotions. You learn how to face difficult situations without immediately seeking external support. These lessons create confidence. The more challenges you overcome on your own, the more trust you develop in yourself. You begin realizing that you are stronger than you thought. You begin understanding that you can survive difficult times. This confidence becomes a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. Relationships may change. Circumstances may change. Opportunities may come and go. But the strength you build through self-reliance remains. And that strength becomes one of your greatest assets in life. Perhaps the greatest reason being alone is a superpower is because it allows you to hear your own voice. Most people spend so much time listening to others that they forget how to listen to themselves. Society tells them what success should look like. Friends tell them what they should do. Social media tells them who they should become. After years of hearing these voices, many people lose touch with their own values. Solitude changes that. When you are alone, you begin hearing your own thoughts more clearly. You begin discovering what truly matters to you. You stop living according to the expectations of others and start living according to your own principles. The Stoics believed this was essential for a meaningful life. A person who knows their values is difficult to influence. They are not easily distracted by trends. They are not easily manipulated by opinions. They are guided by their own sense of purpose. This gives them stability in a world full of uncertainty. While others constantly change direction, they remain focused. While others are lost, they know where they're going. And that is why solitude is not weakness. It is strength. It is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is not something to fear. It is something to master. The man who is comfortable alone is never truly lonely. He has learned to become his own source of strength. Solitude is where character is built, discipline is strengthened, and wisdom is discovered. If you can enjoy your own company, you possess a freedom that many people never experience. One of the biggest reasons being alone is a superpower is that it protects you from becoming a follower. Most people are heavily influenced by the people around them. They adopt the habits, opinions, and behaviors of their environment without even realizing it. If everyone around them complains, they complain. If everyone around them wastes time, they waste time. If everyone around them lacks ambition, they slowly lose their own ambition as well. The Stoics warned about this danger. They understood that the crowd is not always wise. Sometimes the crowd is distracted, emotional, and misguided. A person who spends time alone gains the ability to think independently. They stop following trends blindly. They stop seeking approval from people who do not share their values. They learn to make decisions based on reason rather than social pressure. This independence is powerful because it allows them to stay true to themselves. While others constantly change to fit in, they remain grounded in their principles. Over time, this creates a strong sense of identity. They know who they are, they know what they stand for, and they know where they are going. This confidence cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is built through the courage to stand alone when necessary. Being alone also gives you something that is becoming increasingly rare in the modern world: focus. We live in an age of endless distractions. Notifications, messages, videos, and entertainment compete for attention every minute of the day. Most people never spend enough time alone to concentrate deeply on anything important. As a result, they struggle to make meaningful progress. The Stoics believe that attention is one of the most valuable resources a person possesses. Wherever attention goes, energy follows. A person who cannot control their attention often struggles to control their life. Solitude helps solve this problem. It removes many distractions and creates space for deep work. It allows you to think, create, learn, and improve without interruption. This focused effort produces extraordinary results over time. A person who spends 1 hour every day improving themselves in solitude will eventually outperform someone who spends those same hours seeking constant entertainment. Great achievements are often born in quiet rooms where nobody is watching. The ability to focus deeply is becoming a superpower in a distracted world, and solitude is one of the best ways to develop it. The final lesson solitude teaches is perhaps the most important. Peace comes from within. Many people spend their lives searching for peace in external things. They believe they will finally be happy when they find the right relationship, earn more money, gain more recognition, or achieve a certain goal. The Stoics understood that this approach often leads to disappointment. External circumstances constantly change. What you have today may be gone tomorrow. If your peace depends entirely on external things, your peace will always be fragile. Solitude teaches a different lesson. It teaches you how to sit quietly with yourself and be content. It teaches you that happiness does not always require excitement. It teaches you that peace is not found in constant activity, but in inner stability. A person who can sit alone and feel at peace possesses something incredibly valuable. They are no longer running from themselves. They are no longer dependent on constant stimulation. They have discovered that the source of their strength was inside them all along. This realization changes everything. It creates confidence, resilience, and freedom. And that is why being alone is not a weakness. It is a superpower that helps you become stronger, wiser, and more peaceful than most people ever imagine. The person who learns to be alone gains a rare advantage. They stop making decisions out of desperation. Many people stay in the wrong relationships because they are afraid of loneliness. They tolerate disrespect because they fear being by themselves. They chase people who do not value them because they believe any attention is better than no attention. The Stoics would see this as a form of weakness, not because relationships are bad, but because dependence is dangerous. A strong person values relationships, but they do not need them to feel complete. When you are comfortable alone, you make choices from a position of strength rather than fear. You do not beg for attention. You do not tolerate constant disrespect. You do not sacrifice your values just to keep someone in your life. Instead, you choose relationships that add value, respect, and peace. This freedom changes everything. You stop chasing people and start attracting the right people. You stop settling and start choosing wisely. The ability to walk away from what is unhealthy comes from knowing that you can stand on your own, and that confidence is one of the greatest gifts solitude can provide. Another hidden power of solitude is that it reveals your true character. When people are surrounded by others, they often perform. They act in ways that earn approval. They say things that gain acceptance. They adjust their behavior to fit expectations. But when you are alone, there is no audience. There is nobody to impress. There is nobody to praise you. There is only you. This is where honesty begins. The Stoics believe that character is revealed not by what you do in public, but by what you do when nobody is watching. Do you remain disciplined when no one can see you? Do you keep your promises to yourself when there is no reward? Do you continue improving when there is no applause? These questions reveal who you really are. Solitude forces you to confront them. It removes distractions and exposes reality. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also incredibly valuable, because once you see yourself clearly, you can begin improving yourself intentionally. The person who is willing to face themselves honestly is already ahead of most people. Self-awareness is a foundation of growth, and solitude is one of the best teachers of self-awareness. Over time, the person who embraces solitude begins to develop a quiet confidence. It is different from arrogance. It does not need attention. It does not seek validation. It does not depend on praise. This confidence comes from experience. It comes from knowing that you can handle challenges on your own. It comes from surviving difficult moments without constant support. It comes from spending enough time with yourself to know your strengths and weaknesses. The Stoics admired this type of confidence because it is stable. It does not disappear when circumstances change. It does not depend on popularity. It does not depend on external success. It comes from within. A person with this confidence walks through life differently. They are less affected by criticism. They are less tempted by approval. They are less afraid of rejection. Why? Because they have already learned one of life's most important lessons. They are enough. They do not need the crowd to confirm their worth. They do not need constant attention to feel valuable. They have built a relationship with themselves, and that relationship provides strength no external source can match. This is why being alone is a superpower. It teaches you how to become your own foundation. And once you become your own foundation, very little can shake you. If you can stand alone, you can stand through almost anything. Solitude does not weaken strong people. It creates them. The man who enjoys his own company possesses a freedom that cannot be taken away. As the years pass, most people begin to realize that not everyone who enters their life is meant to stay. Some people arrive to teach lessons. Some arrive to create distractions. And some arrive only for a season. The person who fears being alone often struggles to accept this reality. They hold on to relationships that no longer serve them. They keep chasing people who have already walked away. They sacrifice their peace just to avoid loneliness. The Stoics believe that wisdom means accepting reality instead of fighting it. The strong person understands that letting go is sometimes necessary. They understand that protecting their peace is more important than forcing connections that no longer belong in their life. Solitude helps teach this lesson. It shows you that your happiness does not disappear when someone leaves. It proves that you can continue growing, learning, and thriving on your own. Over time, this realization becomes incredibly empowering. You stop clinging to people out of fear. You stop begging for attention. You stop sacrificing your self-respect for acceptance. Instead, you become selective about who gets access to your time, energy, and attention. And that selectiveness creates a stronger, healthier, and more peaceful life. The Stoics often spoke about inner strength, and solitude is one of the greatest ways to develop it. When you spend time alone, you learn how to deal with discomfort without running from it. You learn how to face boredom without needing constant stimulation. You learn how to sit with difficult emotions instead of escaping them. These lessons are valuable because life will not always be comfortable. There will be moments when you feel uncertain. There will be moments when you feel lost. There will be moments when nobody is there to guide you. During those moments, the strength you built in solitude becomes your greatest asset. You realize that you are capable of handling more than you once believed. You realize that challenges are not as frightening as they seemed. You realize that peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. This understanding changes your relationship with life. You stop fearing difficult situations because you trust yourself to navigate them. You stop depending on others to solve every problem. You become more resilient, more confident, and more independent. And that independence is a form of power that many people never experience because they spend their lives avoiding solitude instead of embracing it. Perhaps the greatest lesson solitude teaches is that you do not need the crowd to become extraordinary. Many of history's greatest thinkers, leaders, artists, and philosophers spent significant time alone. They used solitude to reflect, create, and strengthen themselves. The Stoics understood that greatness is often built away from the spotlight. While the world is busy chasing attention, the wise person is busy building character. While others are focused on appearances, they are focused on substance. Solitude gives you the space to become the person you are capable of becoming. It allows you to think deeply, act intentionally, and grow consistently. The person who masters solitude gains something rare: freedom from a need for constant approval. They no longer live according to the expectations of others. They live according to their values. They no longer fear being alone because they have discovered the strength that solitude creates. And once that strength is developed, it becomes a superpower. A superpower that helps you remain calm during chaos, confident during uncertainty, and focused during distraction. That is why being alone is not something to fear. It is something to master. Because the person who learns to stand alone eventually becomes strong enough to stand anywhere. Being alone is not loneliness. Being alone is discovering the strength you never knew you had. The crowd can entertain you, but solitude can transform you. The man who is comfortable alone becomes impossible to control. Why is being alone a superpower? Because it teaches you how to become your own source of peace, confidence, and strength. Crossroads, there comes a point in life when you realize that being alone is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people. Many people fear solitude so much that they accept unhealthy relationships, fake friendships, and negative environments just to avoid being by themselves. The Stoics warned against this mistake. They believe that the people around you influence your thoughts, habits, and character. If you spend your time with people who constantly complain, you will eventually complain. If you spend your time with people who lack discipline, your own discipline will weaken. The person who is comfortable being alone refuses to lower their standards simply because they fear loneliness. They understand that peace is valuable. They understand that self-respect is valuable. They understand that protecting their mind is valuable. So they would rather walk alone than walk in the wrong direction with a crowd. This choice often looks difficult at first, but over time it becomes one of the smartest decisions a person can make. Because every moment spent in a toxic environment steals energy from your growth. And every moment spent in healthy solitude can be invested into becoming stronger, wiser, and more focused. Another reason solitude is a superpower is because it teaches patience. Modern society encourages constant stimulation. People want instant results, instant entertainment, and instant success. The moment things become quiet, they become uncomfortable. The Stoics understood that patience is one of the foundations of strength. A person who can sit alone without needing constant distraction develops an extraordinary level of self-control. They learn how to wait without becoming restless. They learn how to work without immediate rewards. They learn how to trust the process even when results are not visible. These lessons are powerful because most achievements take time. Success takes time. Wisdom takes time. Character takes time. The person who cannot tolerate solitude often struggles with patience because they constantly seek quick rewards. But the person who embraces solitude learns how to remain steady. They understand that growth happens slowly. They understand that meaningful progress often occurs in silence. And because they are patient, they continue moving forward while others give up too soon. This patience becomes a competitive advantage in every area of life. The greatest gift of solitude is that it helps you build a relationship with yourself. Most people know more about celebrities, influencers, and strangers than they know about their own minds. They understand everyone else's opinions, but rarely examine their own beliefs. The Stoics believe that self-knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. How can you improve yourself if you do not understand yourself? Solitude creates the opportunity for self-discovery. It allows you to identify your strengths and weaknesses. It allows you to examine your habits. It allows you to understand your fears, values, and goals. This knowledge is incredibly valuable because it gives you direction. A person who understands themselves is harder to manipulate. They know what matters to them. They know what they stand for. They know what they are willing to tolerate and what they are not. This clarity creates confidence. And confidence built on self-knowledge is far more powerful than confidence built on external approval. That is why the strongest people often spend time alone. They are not escaping the world. They are learning how to understand themselves. And once you truly understand yourself, you gain a level of strength that no one can take away. Better to walk alone with purpose than follow a crowd without direction. The final reason being alone is a superpower is that it teaches you how to create your own happiness. Most people spend their lives believing happiness comes from external things. They think happiness will arrive when they find the perfect relationship, earn more money, gain more status, or receive more attention. The Stoics understood that this way of thinking creates dependence. If your happiness depends entirely on things outside your control, then your happiness will always be fragile. Solitude teaches a different lesson. It teaches you how to enjoy simple things. It teaches you how to appreciate peace. It teaches you how to find contentment without needing constant validation from others. The person who learns this lesson becomes incredibly strong because their happiness is no longer controlled by circumstances. They can enjoy success without depending on it. They can appreciate relationships without becoming dependent on them. They can face difficult situations without losing themselves. This inner stability becomes one of their greatest strengths. While others are constantly chasing happiness, they have already learned how to create it from within. At the end of the day, being alone is a superpower because it teaches you everything the world cannot teach you. It teaches self-respect. It teaches patience. It teaches discipline. It teaches emotional independence. Most importantly, it teaches you that you are stronger than you think. The Stoics believe that true strength is not found in crowds, attention, or popularity. True strength is found in self-mastery. The person who can sit alone without feeling empty has achieved something rare. They have learned to enjoy their own company. They have learned to trust themselves. They have learned to build a life based on values rather than validation. This does not mean they reject people. It means they are no longer controlled by the need for people. They can enjoy relationships without becoming dependent on them. They can face challenges without falling apart. They can remain calm when others panic. And because of that, they move through life with a quiet confidence that few people possess. Being alone is not about isolation. It is about discovering the strength that already exists within you. Once you discover that strength, you stop fearing solitude and start using it as a tool for growth. The crowd gives you noise. Solitude gives you clarity. The person who is comfortable alone cannot be controlled by loneliness. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop begging for the attention of others. Being alone is a superpower because it teaches you how to become your own source of peace, confidence, and strength.